Good evening. Every once in a while, the Bush Center in Texas sponsors live speakers. And tonight, I'd like to share what I learned and thought about how it applies to this course. You're probably familiar with the names of Mark Cuban, who was born in 1958. He's a very successful American entrepreneur and television personality, media proprietor, investor. He's worth about $4.3 billion, according to Forbes magazine. And in 2019, he was on the Forbes 400 list of the richest people in the world. He owns 11 patent families and 23 patent publications. Pretty successful. He has an eye on the workforce of the future. And then there's Damon John, who, by the way, came as a guest speaker to Fort Hays State University a number of years ago, and he really was an incredible speaker. He was born in '69. He is also an investor, a television personality. He's an author, and he's a motivational speaker. That's why he came to Fort Hays State University. I think many of you, if not all of you, have heard of Shark Tank. And it's every week. I watch it. I used to use it to teach with when it was on YouTube in classroom activities. This is what they spoke about tonight on the show. It was moderated by Kevin Sullivan. So they want to give you their take on the future of the workforce. Let's start with Mark. He said you can't be the best if you don't compete. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're competing for a new job or a career change. You can't get there unless you've tried and learned from your mistakes. I also liked the quote when he said, you don't live in the world you were born into. And then he went on to say that you may have heard of this before, 50% of the workforce will retire with jobs that haven't been invented yet. So we all have to be innovative and nimble. Damon John took it a step further. He feels, and many agree, that the future jobs are in the STEM industries. And he said, in fact, kids should be learning financial intelligence and coding in high school. Arg. And he's holding a global summit for young Black entrepreneurs. Again, a sign of how the workforce has changed with virtual conferences as well as virtual courses. My personal opinion is they're here to stay one way or the other. Mark told a really interesting story. He said that his son came in one day and asked him a super high-end financial question. And he said, how do you know about that? He said, well, I learned about it on YouTube. I'm studying business on YouTube. And then Mark went on and listed the kind of super high-end questions his son was asking. To me, the takeaways were that we don't live in the world that we were born into, especially given where we are today. And I love the quote that 50% of us will retire in jobs that don't now exist. Well, I hope that this 4-minute report out brings some thoughts to your mind. And all of it can be found on Vimeo under this title, this day, today.